President Bola Tinubu has granted a presidential pardon to Maryam Sanda, who was sentenced to death in 2020 for the murder of her husband, Bilyaminu Bello. She received clemency after serving 6 years and 8 months at the Suleja Medium Security Custodial Center. The presidency said Sanda's family appealed for her release on grounds of her good conduct in prison and the welfare of her 2 children. It noted that she had shown remorse and embraced a new lifestyle during her incarceration. Her pardon comes as part of a broader clemency initiative covering 175 Nigerians and foreigners. It includes postmortem pardons for notable figures such as environmental activist Ken Saro-Wiwa and Major General Mamman Vasta, as well as members of the Ogoni Nine. Sanda was convicted by Justice Yusuf Halilu of the FCT High Court in January 2020 for fatally stabbing her husband at their Abuja home. Her appeal was dismissed later that year by the Court of Appeal, which upheld the death sentence. The presidential decision followed recommendations from the Presidential Advisory Committee on the Prerogative of Mercy, chaired by Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi. The pardon has drawn significant public attention, making one of the most far-reaching exercises of presidential mercy in recent years. So social media has been agog with this particular report because, just mixed feelings everywhere. But what do you think about this?
I think it's a horrible decision the presidents have made. Now, no doubt the presidents have the right for, it's called prerogative of mercy.
Exactly.
You can exercise that right to forgive those who have been condemned or who have been, condemned, found guilty of one thing or the other. You see, but this particular exercise, some of the names on the list, apart from those symbolic, you see, everywhere, though the president, everywhere the constitution have that provision for prerogative of mercy, the president, and in Nigeria case, the governor, exercise that authority. Though that power is there for the president to use and whoever the president is. But best practice is that that power is used discretionally.
Okay.
So as not to stir up public discontent. A case where some of the names, according to reports on that pardon list, are convicted drug persons. Not one, not two. I heard a particular list say up to 10 of them were convicted drug fellows, and and this particular case, this case is worrisome because these are politically exposed people.
Right.
And then this argument here that the president said the family appealed to him, it is not exactly in the place of the family. Of course, every family may want to appeal for their person, or put it in a different way. I'm not sure there are too many families who would oppose a prerogative of mercy for their daughter, especially if the crime committed was not against a member of their family. But you see, the thing is this particular murder case is very recent. That sentence was in 2020. It is less than a decade. And why is the time frame important in my thinking is because, for me, the family of the guy and his friends may still be grieving. If you have lost a loved person, especially in such manner, you discover that 10 years down the line is still so much a short time for the grieving family to come out from it. Then when they thought justice had been done, at least by the sentencing, when we usually say justice is done, it's usually a cold comfort. If you have been a victim of any form of crime or the other, it's usually a cold comfort to what have been lost, especially where life is involved. Now you set the person free because the family said. Usually, where prerogative of mercy is exercised, it's not on account of the family saying our daughter, our son has become remorseful, has become of good conduct. No, it should have actually been the prison authorities, saying that, okay, these people under our custody have shown a change in character. They have shown, remorse. But what I would have thought that in this case, since she was sentenced to death, a prerogative of mercy for her may not have been to, it would have been commuting her death sentence maybe to life imprisonment, maybe to some years imprisonment, but definitely not just setting her free immediately. That would have been, allowed time for the wounds to heal.
Right.
But that's, I don't think, like I said earlier, I don't think the wound on the part of the guy's family has been healed. And like some people have said, like you rightly said, it's all over the place in social media. Like people are now reading this to me is that, of course, which I've also heard that if you're dead, yours is, you are totally gone for. Even the system does not guarantee you justice, even where justice seems to have been served.
Right.
So the best thing for you is to try as much as you can to stay alive. I saw all over social media warning going out to men that, hey, come on, if you're a guy, don't allow yourself to be killed in a marriage, because if you die, your wife, especially if she has some influence, maybe, I wonder if this lady, if she's not politically, if the family is not a politically exposed family, if she was just an ordinary person, if she would have gotten this prerogative of mercy for murder cases. Like I keep saying, there are some crimes you commit, even if mercy wants to be granted, like it shouldn't be a blanket thing like this. If this death sentence was commuted to life in prison, I don't think it would have so much drawn public outcry the way it is done. If it was commuted to say maybe from life in prison to say maybe 20 years in prison, 15 years in prison, by which time the wound would have probably healed on the part of the grieving family, it would have been a little bit different. But for somebody who committed murder, no, this is not manslaughter. It was a deliberate murder.
I don't know if you're really refreshed about how this case played out.
Yes, I followed the incident.
You did follow the case.
When it happened.
The fact that he was the late husband, Bilyaminu, was stabbed 8 times.
Absolutely.
Right, and during the misunderstanding, the family and his friends did come over to the house. I think it was his dad or someone of a higher status, maybe her brother or someone came to talk to them to be like, okay, quell the anger. Even if you're upset, you guys should stay and talk about it. And his best friend did tell the court that he insisted that Bilyaminu should follow him home that night because he thinks she's still very upset. And the husband said, no, since you guys have spoken to her, she's my wife and I think she has forgiven me. After which, during the proceedings, it was said that she went ahead to stab this man 8 times. What does this look like for justice for us just now? Especially, you remember last week we did talk about the lady that had, burnt her husband in Akwa Ibom.
Yes,
that
a story that is even taking a different tune.
That is taking a different tune now.
The lady claiming that it was the guy.
Right. As of Friday, a man actually killed his wife in another military barrack and beat her up to death. In a place where we have a lot of sequences of several domestic violence cases, what does this say for our justice system?
That's the reason why I say, though nobody would argue that the president doesn't have a prerogative of mercy, but usually best practice is you exercise discretion in how you exercise that power. It's one thing for you to have power. This may be my house and I have the right to move every property here. But in doing that, I also exercise discretion what to move and what not to move, because I know that in moving this, we carry some consequences and others. So in the same way, a president having prerogative of mercy, at least as provided for by Nigerian Constitution, is in no doubt at all. But there should be discretion in how you exercise those discretion of mercy, in order not to send the wrong message to the public. The message that has been sent now is that if you are dead, you have a system that may not even stand for you, even when the court, unfortunately for us, many people don't even believe in the court as such, but where the court has managed to give a level of hope, political influence could throw all that into the dustbin. So we are creating a situation where people may be encouraged to resort to self-help, which may be dangerous. In this type of case, even the person that has been so released have to be careful how she enjoys this newfound freedom, because the family of the guy may still be grieving and may not be willing to come to terms to the fact that their son has been betrayed by the system. So yes, the president has the right to prerogative of mercy, but in my thinking, such prerogative of mercy, and indeed every power assigned to anybody by the law, anybody who wields power, should be careful how they exercise that power. Do you have the power? Yes. Right. But careful how you exercise that power so as not to whip up sentiment against such power you rightly have.
Thank you so much. But before we clear out from here, you mentioned the people that were convicted of, drugs over time that still got this prerogative. I did read about the kidnapper also that got out, a kidnapper that's kind of like high profile with lots of cases under his belt, including murder and all of those. Now, when you look at that, and in a system like Nigeria where we lack witness protection, what do you think the fate of witnesses that they stand in courts, to discuss these matters in court openly? What would their fate be?
This is exactly why I said that though the president, the governor have this right, it should be exercised with discretion. You don't just, dish it out like you're spraying money in a party.
Do you think they're going to be giving witness protection now, though, with these people being out, with how high-profile certain cases were?
Well, it is left for such persons maybe to go to court to ask for some sort of protection. But what kind of protection can they even get? These witnesses, I don't know who they are, but would they even have the financial wherewithal to approach court? That means these are the things the president and his advisors should have thought about. The people that stood, that made sure that this matter was successfully prosecuted, what will become their fate if you just grant pardon to these people? Now, these people, you say they have become, and we still live in an era where some of these crimes are still very rampant. We deal with cases of drug every day. We deal with cases of kidnapping just all over the country. There are issues of kidnapping every day. And the ones that the system have managed to convince, you're granting them prerogative of mercy. So the message sounds like you're saying commit whatever crime you may, just be sure that you have the right buttons to press, even when you are convicted with your political connection or something, with a high-profile connection, you can get a prerogative of mercy. And I don't think that is fine for justice. I don't think that is good for security. Even the security people that, put their life on stake to get some of this conviction, I wonder if they won't feel betrayed. So, like I keep saying, the president have the right to exercise a prerogative of mercy, but care should be taken how such rights are exercised, how such powers are exercised. So you don't send the wrong signal to criminals. So you don't send the wrong, like you're talking about the witness now. People will be careful. If I know something and I stand out to say I know something, and that which I said helped to convict somebody, and tomorrow this guy is granted witness, what becomes of me? I mean, why should I even go take all the pain granting providing witness to help a system, absolutely, a system that does not need my evidence, that will eventually rubbish every effort. So I don't think those who advise the president did a thorough job. If not, some of the names we saw on that list wouldn't have been there.